I am Rocky Perez. I am a marketing strategist within research and innovation here at the University of Arizona. To start, kind of wanted to give some acknowledgements. For starters, we are here today because of our incredible sponsors, Hispanic Serving Institution initiatives, as well as the Alumni office. And to start as well, talk a little bit about our designation. So for those of you that don't know, the University of Arizona was designated as a Hispanic Serving Institution in 2018. It's a federal designation that was given to institutions of higher ed who enroll at least 25% of undergraduate students who identify as Hispanic or Latinx. And this alumni panel is part of HSI Week, which is in celebration of HSIs across the nation, to build awareness of the work and the importance that HSIs play in improving access to education. We can go ahead and start with Nicole, but if you would all be willing to go ahead and just introduce yourselves and what you do, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Sure. So you want me to start?
Yeah.
Just introduce okay, great. So my name is Nicole Santa Cruz. I graduated from the University of Arizona in 2009. I majored in journalism, and I actually went on to do journalism. I worked at the LA Times for 12 years, and last year I came back, or no, 2 years ago I came back to Arizona to work for ProPublica, which is a nonprofit investigative news organization. We cover the Southwest. So we cover Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado. So I'm happy to be back in Arizona and happy to be on this panel.
Awesome. Christina?
Good morning, everybody. Well, first of all, thank you, Rocky, and everybody on the U of A side for inviting me to participate in this panel. I'm a diehard U of A Wildcat, cats for life, right? And so thank you so much. But I'm going to skew the age curve, it looks like, on the panel. So I'm a graduate of the class of 1993. I'm actually born in Tucson. I'm an Arizona native. I shared with Carla. I know when I often do that, people look at me like I'm a unicorn or something. I think we do exist. Arizona natives exist. I'm proof of it. But as I said, I graduated in 1993. I currently serve as the Vice President of Corporate Partnerships at the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Gosh, it's been a long road to get here. But when I left the University of Arizona, I went to work for a family-owned business in the construction trades, a general contractor. That's where my family's business was for many years. Went on from there to attend Thunderbird, the American Graduate School of International Management. Did a stint at Anheuser-Busch Companies, a little beer company called Budweiser, for a couple of years. Moved around, working in their marketing department. My major at the University of Arizona was business, just general business administration. So I did end up using that as well. And strangely enough, I ended up working in the Hispanic advertising business for almost 25 years, working for a variety of clients. I worked on the McDonald's Spanish language business for a decade and just a variety of other clients. It was a great ride and a lot of fun. So my education served me well at both the University of Arizona and Thunderbird. And that brought me to where I'm at today. I never thought I'd be working for a nonprofit institution. But I love it. It's been incredibly rewarding. I get to serve and help small business folks on a daily basis grow and scale their businesses. So it's a pleasure again to be here today. Thank you.
Awesome. Manny?
Thank you, Rocky. Good morning, everyone. Well, afternoon from my end. I'm on East Coast right now, so it's already afternoon for me. But very happy to be here today and very happy to have been asked to be a part of the panel, especially just to be joined with Nicole and Christina. Like Christina, I'm also a Tucson native. I was born in Tucson, but I grew up for the first part of my life in Sonora in a very small town called Magdalena de Quino. Maybe some of you may know where that is, and some of you may have family there. Odds are that we're probably related, if that's the case. Then moved to Nogales, Arizona to finish middle school and high school. and ended up at University of Arizona shortly thereafter. Graduated in 2016 with a major in poli-sci and Spanish legal translation interpretation with the hopes of going to law school. And again, unlike Nicole, I'm not doing what I majored in, but it's still proved to be very useful to what I'm doing today. I'm currently the founder and the CEO of a nonprofit called AZ Cyber Initiative that really aims to increase awareness of jobs and educational opportunities in cybersecurity for high school students in Arizona. And I'm, a couple different hats that I wear is I'm also a reservist in the U.S. Navy. So I do intelligence, and I previously did cybersecurity within the Navy. And lastly, I also work for a cybersecurity testing company called SINEC. And again, I'm very happy to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think it's important to note, just as we go into a couple of questions, who among the group is a first generation student and the first in their family to graduate? Nicole, Christina, Manny? Gotcha. Cool. So, kind of looking back at your years at the university, as we kind of dive into your experiences and as you've progressed through your career, I think it's important to note the experiences that you had at the university and how they prepared you going into your career. But for starters, what were some of your best memories at the University of Arizona? Because the bear down experience is just as important.
I'll be happy to go first. So I think, gosh, there were so many really great memories, for me at the University of Arizona. My father's side of the family lives in Tucson. As I said, I was born in Tucson, but I was raised in the Phoenix area. But I think, I wanted a big college experience. U of A, for all of my ASU friends that might be on this call or listening to us, wasn't even consideration for me, right? If I was going to stay in the state of Arizona, I was going to go to the University of Arizona. But I have to tell you, sporting events, football games, right? I think that's a no-brainer. Those are such great memories. Tailgating, I had a lot of family that attended football games and whatnot, had season tickets. So that was just a great joy. When I came into the University of Arizona many moons ago, as I said, there used to be a wonderful program that helped me get started. Even though I went to a large high school in the East Valley here in Phoenix metro area, it was called New Start, right? And I think when you land on a big campus like that and your class sizes are monstrous, right? It's helpful to be able to go through a summer program like that really helped me, right? The summer before, learn about what that experience was going to look like, find some mentors. A lot of my high school friends that came to the University of Arizona also went through that. So that was a great memory for me, right? I built a lot of friendships and I really learned about the campus experience. So that really helped me too. So many things, just being on the mall, I think is fantastic too. I think just enjoying the college experience, making new friends. I was an employee at Bear Down Gym, and the rec center had just been built when I was a student there. So I worked for Campus Rec for a while. So those were great memories too. So
I love that. Have you had the opportunity to visit Bear Down Gym anytime recently?
I have not. I need to get back in there. It was a little bit of an eyesore when I was there.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's
it's
now our
completely
student.
changed.
And what about you, Manny? Favorite memories?
I'm gonna have to agree with Christina. I also I participated in Youth Start, and as soon as I heard you ask the question, that was the first thought that came to mind. Right after I graduated high school, I participated in Youth Start with the intention of not going to U of A in the fall semester. Actually, I was planning on going to school out of state in California and had my classes selected. I had my roommate. I had clubs. I remember, I had even signed up for student government, and student government is what is and was a passion for me. And going through the program and just getting to know other students who are from similar backgrounds, going through similar experiences, getting to meet some of the faculty and professors in some of our classes. And during the summer, I also applied for a job at the Dean of Students office and received that job. And it was the most incredible campus job that I could have expected. And then lastly, I told myself that I applied for the UAha scholarships for the Hispanic Alumni Scholarship. And I told myself, if I get this scholarship, then I promised myself that I would stay. And 2 weeks after I received that letter saying that I received the scholarship. So I just collectively, all the signs were pushing me to stay at U of A, and I felt at home. So I think if I were to summarize that into just one overall memory and experience, I would probably choose New Start, because that was the start of it all.
Gotcha. And what about you, Nicole?
Yeah, so I actually didn't say I'm also a Tucson native, so that's kind of funny that there's everyone on panel's Tucson native. So I went to Pima Community College for a few years before transferring to the U of A, and I found that the system that they had set up made it a pretty easy transition. Like, all my credits transferred. They had counselors that helped you with your schedule. And so I was basically doing my upper divisions at the University of Arizona, and I immediately started working for student media. So I joined the Arizona Daily Wildcat, and that is really kind of where I spent most of my time on campus, is in the newsroom, putting together the paper. I got, kind of super involved in the Wildcat, and that's where all of my kind of best memories come from. In addition, the journalism school at that point, they still have small class sizes, but I bonded with professors at the journalism school and other people who were part of the same major. And I'd say that and my experience at the Wildcat really are some of my fondest memories.
That's awesome. And then, so what are some challenges that you might have faced throughout your undergraduate experience?
I can go first with that. I think I was the first in my family to attend a university of this size. And my mom had gone to Pima and gotten an associate's degree, but she had never been to a large institution like this. And so I think that was kind of intimidating, just coming from a completely different background than a lot of my peers. Kind of felt isolating at times. But I think that the key to kind of making yourself feel more welcome is to just get involved in activities and get involved in the things that interest you, because there's so many different activities on campus. So I think it taught me that even if I did come from a different background than a lot of the people that I was meeting, it didn't matter. And I could still, I was still on par with them. So, yeah.
Christina?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to go next. I would agree with Nicole a little bit. I think, like, as I said, even though I went to a large high school, I think landing on a big campus like that can be a little intimidating, right? You don't have the friends, the family, the parents to fall back on to tell you what to do, where to go, and all of that. And I was living in, a dorm environment at the time. A Coronado dorm, I don't even know if it's still called that, was still an all-girls dorm. So having to live with someone that's not your sibling, cousin or something like that was really new, and it was interesting to navigate. So I think, just learning to live independently a little bit, navigating classes and making new friends. But I would agree, jump in and get involved, in the environment. And I think sometimes it can be difficult to know where to start. That's where great offices and programs like New Start, and I'm sure many others that exist on the campus are really important. Like I said, I worked for Student Rec. I was very involved in intramural sports, made a lot of friends there. That was a big interest for me at that time. I had friends that had other interests and whatnot that introduced us to other folks. But I think that was one of the biggest challenges, right? Just learning to navigate the new environment, the big classes, socializing with new people. And I think you just kind of have to step outside of your comfort zone and force yourself to get involved so you're not isolated, right? Because that's easy to do in such a big environment like that.
Gotcha. And then Manny, I'll
So,
get you go real quick as well.
yeah, of course. So it's a good question actually, and I think my answer would probably change depending on the year that we're really focusing on. But I think a very common just topic for a challenge, I think, was almost being the only one that looked with similar background, with similar experiences, cultural and life, and joining some clubs and programs, and just finding, sometimes it felt like a very different, it was hard to sometimes relate to some other students, and it was sometimes hard to break that mold. And often you could be referred to as the Mexican just because you're different than everyone else in the group or in the club, team, whatever it is. And so sometimes it can feel lonely, or it can feel very isolating. I think that's a very challenge that is real for many students, especially Hispanic or minority students. And so it's important to find different programs and opportunities that make you feel like you're a part of a community. But even with that challenge, I don't think it's meant with malicious intent. I just think sometimes students don't know how to welcome, how to respond, how to create open spaces for students that have different life experiences in them. So that challenge can turn into an opportunity for both ends.
Gotcha. So Nicole, real quick, so you you came up in an environment that was, or at least within the university, that was around journalism, and you worked in the Daily Wildcat, and now that I feel that that's applicable to where you are now. What were some challenges and some encounters and experiences that prepared you for where you are today in that sense?
I'd say being a first generation like college student, I was working and working on the Wildcat and going to school, and so I feel like learning to balance and multitask. Nothing will ever be as challenging as kind of trying to multitask all those things during college. So I think that was one thing that I really took away from my experience. Um, and I would probably say um, just the real world experience I got working on the Wildcat. At the time, the university was looking for a new president, so we were embarking on a presidential search, and that was like my first big story because I covered the University of Administration, and in that kind of, it gave me a taste of like breaking news and how to cover big stories, and really laid a lot of foundation that I would use for my more professional work and internships. I was editor-in-chief of the Wildcat, and so I learned leadership and management skills, and kind of story judgment and how to place stories. So I feel like a lot of the things I did at the Wildcat really translated into what I do today.
Gotcha. And Manny, something that you haven't mentioned is that you were student body president. And so, that you also touched on that student government was something that you were incredibly passionate about. Were there any experiences in that capacity or within the Dean of Students office that you feel prepared you for the advocacy and educational work that you do in the tech initiative?
Sure. I absolutely, for one, working at the Dean of Students office, you're constantly receiving input from students that are coming in with concerns for not being able to pay or afford rent, not having enough food, not having appropriate clothing for when it's cold outside, or navigating their classes, or maybe they're having issues paying for tuition. So you're constantly navigating these students with issues. And so you learn to, one, be empathetic, right? To be able to listen attentively and then triage accordingly. So you refer them to counseling and psych services. Now you have the food bank, or I'm not sure what it's, campus pantry, that's called, and you can assist students with providing them with meals if they need to. So I mean, developing that empathy skill has proven to be very useful in a professional setting, especially once you start managing other coworkers, or once you start just, it's working with clients or customers, because you're able to actively listen and then provide solutions that they may need. I think also from the student government and being student body president, I had the opportunity to also listen to the needs of the students and communicate that effectively with administration, but then also be able to understand what administration wants and needs and communicating that back to the students. So it's proven to overall just be a great skill that I've been able to translate into my professional and my personal life as well, because I feel more comfortable with public speaking, with engaging with administration, with leadership, and so it's I'm very grateful for that honor and that opportunity, and especially just being able to now applying that to the nonprofit that I started. I'm able to just pick up on needs that are, or gaps that aren't being unmet, and trying to find creative solutions on how to bring those opportunities to life for others.
That's awesome. And what about you, Christina? Were there any outlying experiences that really contributed to where you are now and prepared you along the way?
I think I mentioned some of them, and I think Manny and Nicole mentioned a few things that I would agree with as well. But I think, just the socialization skills that you learned, I think certainly I'll reference the New Start program again and what I do now, serving our community at the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Certainly I think at the U of A made me and helped me recognize the importance of critical programs like that really help students that are, I think we call either underserved or may need an extra boost, because of the new environment, how important that is. I have a 16-year-old daughter who's fiercely independent and wants to do everything on her own. And, I think some of us tend to do that. And I think even as Latinos a little bit, we tend to, be very proud too. And I think we have to understand, and I tell this to our entrepreneurs too, don't be afraid to ask for help, right? That's what our organization exists for. And I think that's what the New Start program and many other programs that the U of A has exists there. It's to help students, get a leg up and help them be successful. And I think that's really important. And it's wonderful to learn that Manny was a student body president, and there, is a food pantry for students that are having difficulty. So I think it really impressed upon me the importance, especially in a new environment, to seek out those programs and the importance of them, and the importance for all of us to continue to pay it forward and help students that are coming in now, or small business owners, or whatever we're doing, to help other folks.
It's awesome. There's a common theme of leadership among your respective fields, and being able to empower, be it businesses or K through 12 students, covering different stories around the region, that I think there's a sense of service that's really beautiful about what the university prepares us to do. There a lot of employers come to the University of Arizona hoping to partner when it comes to recruiting new students into their companies, be it for internships or full-time careers. Within your experience, or just from your perspective, are there any things that they should be conscious of when trying to diversify their workforce?
I'll go first. I think I often, in my role now, we have many corporate partners that come to us and ask us that question. They want to diversify their workforce. I think especially with what we've been through in these last couple of years. I think this is kind of a hot topic for folks, right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think, but what we often tell folks, that's wonderful. We want you to hire a more diverse workforce, but you need to understand the value of that diversity in your organization, right? Give these folks an opportunity to contribute, and please just don't come to us to look for managers. Yes, we need entry-level employees, students, we all needed someplace to start, but please give these folks a path to leadership, a path to the C-suite if that's what they desire to do, because when your business reflects the community that we live in, right, it's better for your organization, it's better for your corporation, it's better for our community, and that'll just lead to better employees, and your employee will value their workplace and the authentic diversification that they're seeking. So those are a couple things that I would say.
And real quick, Christina, do you see any positive impacts or return value on investment within a diverse workforce within your field? What are some return values that you might have recognized?
Absolutely. I think with the diversity of a workforce, you have diversity of thought leadership, right? You have people that are coming from different perspectives. I mean, I'm listening to all of us, and my family, is probably 4th or 5th generation Mexican American, right? I tease sometimes that, unlike Manny, I think the border probably at some point crossed my family because they've always been in the state of Arizona. My mother's side of the family hails from the Yuma San Luis area, which is another border town. But I think just diversity of experiences and just being open to what everybody has to offer, and listening to folks, I think it just gives you diversity of thought leadership. I know that we have a predominantly Hispanic employee base at the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, but everybody comes from a different background, has a different life experience, and I think it only makes us stronger as an organization.
Absolutely. And what about you, Manny?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I completely agree with Christina, and I also think that it is a very common and hot topic that is happening nowadays. I think it only works if it's coming from a genuine spot, right? If you're an employer who is actively and genuinely looking to find ways to make their business or their company more diverse and bring a more just bring that more diverse group of professionals, and it has to come from a meaningful intent rather than just making it a quota for numbers. I think if you make it a numbers approach, then it's only going to, the culture of the company is not going to change, right? And you'll see that pretty quickly. But when you come from a genuine spot, you have leadership and C-suites who are who actually want to create change into their companies, that culture will change eventually. It may take some time, but you'll start seeing that when you bring a diverse pool of employees, you have people who from different backgrounds, different experiences, but when you collectively put them in a room together, you're able to come up with more creative solutions. So it almost becomes probably the biggest return of investment that you can, if you want to speak from a business perspective. But also it's going a little bit back again to the empathetic question earlier, or the empathy question that I answered earlier. I think if you are understanding and conscious of everyone's journey is different and everyone's lived experiences looks very differently, you're better able to connect with your colleagues, with customers, and so you create this more effective workplace. So I think overall, at the end of the day, it's just much better to have that diverse workforce.
Yeah, I think that also speaks to, I think there's a growing trend in that senior diversity officers, but be it in higher ed or even in companies where it's a goal to change the paradigm where those goals and ideals not only lie within that role or within their office, but rather at a senior level, and it being led by those C-suite executives, because it truly takes a village in everything that we do.
I was just
Nicole,
going
what
to
about
say,
you?
oh,
Sorry, go, Nick. Go ahead, Manny.
no, I was going to say, you're right. It's something that I've seen, that it's important for students to assimilate someone that looks like them in order for them to visualize themselves eventually as a C-suite or leading organizations, right? If they don't find someone that looks like them or maybe has a similar journey or background, then the student will probably not be able to connect to that job or that industry. It's important that at every level, at like Christina said, not just the entry level, but you medium level management and higher level management, you start seeing people that look like you, so you can start, increasing diversity within those positions, those levels. So absolutely, completely agree with this.
Gotcha. What about you, Nicole?
I think that what Christina and Manny had to say was really helpful and useful. One thing I would add is that if you're going to be recruiting a diverse workforce, you should pay them just as much as you're paying the rest of your workforce, and not hire them at lower salaries, give them the same benefits. I think I know in journalism, salary transparency has become a thing, and along with unions, a lot of journalists are unionizing to achieve that kind of salary transparency and pay equity that they want. So I'd say if you want a diverse workforce, you have to also pay them equally.
Definitely. And I think we can all agree that's a growing trend, I think, in the nonprofit realm at large. I think not only transparency of pay, but I think in all levels of compensation, regardless of role. So, kind of returning back to the topic of being an HSI, U of A became an HSI fairly recently. And so from what I understand, not all of you were necessarily here, post designation, but you were here for the journey that led us to, to be able to say that we are a Hispanic Serving Institution. And so that took place in 2018. And again, that designation was given by the Department of Education to universities that enroll in 25, or that at least enroll 25% or more Hispanic or Latinx undergrads. This metric is, it's purely enrollment based, and UA sees this as a lot more than necessarily just enrolling in a matter of circumstance, but more of intentional work to get us there. So as an alumni, what does that designation mean to you, regardless of having graduated before that?
So I can start on that one. I think that number is, it means everything, right? And it typically happens that when you graduate, you feel all the better things come to campus. I know there's much better restaurants and food options on campus, and there's, now there's more. Bear Down Gym looks like a dream. It was very different than when we were on campus, but it's always great as an alumni. It's actually very exciting to know that there's one, that number is increasing every year, and that the number of tuition available for students is higher and higher every year as well, or for the most part. But I've also had the privilege of getting to know and working with some of the team at the HSI office, so Marla and Riley, and I know they're always, the work that they do and all the opportunities that they seek out to benefit the students and the university overall. They're always working tirelessly, partnering with other departments on campus and other organizations within the Tucson area, and it's not easy, right? It's a pretty competitive process, and so the amount of work and hours that is invested is very admirable, and it's very meaningful for the students. And I'm just happy to see that there's more and more opportunities happening out there, and I think the team is also increasing. So from a nation perspective, people are looking to U of A as a leader and creating change and setting an example for other universities to follow. So proud alumni, UA alumni moment right there.
What about you, Nicole?
I think that that designation, it means that the university is serving the community and fulfilling its land grant mission. So I think bravo, like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I think, you know, it would be great to see that number increase to be more reflective of Arizona demographics. So yeah, I think it's great. I think we're on the right path. I think we should do more.
Christina?
No, I agree with Manny and Nicole. I think it sends a wonderful message to our community, to other Hispanic students, that the U of A is open and welcomes you with open arms. So it's wonderful to see that we receive that designation. It's wonderful to see that other institutions in our state have received that designation. I think we often tell our businesses at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce that, you know, if you're doing business in the state of Arizona, even though you may not be owned by a Hispanic individual, you're still serving the Hispanic community. And so I think, you know, all of our institutions need to recognize, like the University of Arizona, that you're serving the Hispanic students, you're serving our Hispanic community. I think Tucson's a wonderful place if you're Hispanic. I think the broader population is, you know, predominantly Hispanic, but when you get on campus, as Manny said, the experience might be a little bit different. I know we get a lot of out-of-state students too. So I think there's still work to do. And Nicole mentioned demographics. I know, you know, our K through 12 system right now is 50+% Hispanic. You know, Phoenix Metro is 40, Tucson's higher than that. And so we still have work to do because we have a large and growing Hispanic population to serve. But I think it's a wonderful, wonderful start. I know Marla Franco and the team are doing a great job, and as all of you. So it's wonderful. And it, as a Wildcat as well, I agree with Manny. It's a proud point.
Yeah, definitely. You know, so I'm a little bit of a special circumstance or a special case in that I'm still an undergrad. I'm technically a fifth year, but you know, I had started the university in 2017, and the middle of my college experience was completely uprooted because of the pandemic and because of all of the systemic changes and really, I think, just the financial turmoil that a lot of people went through. And you know, even before that, I felt that the university really prepared me in the sense that I had a community to navigate that with, both among the student organizations that I was a part of, you know, the advising team that I had, or even you know, at the administrative level, when it comes to the HSI team. You know, like Manny, I was in student government as well. I was a student body senator for 2 years, and that really gave me a wealth of knowledge that I was also able to share with students along the way. But truly, I think I give credit to the HSI team in the sense that they transformed the idea of service to what we call servingness, and it's really been able to, I think, transform the idea of how we're going to go about empowering our students and providing them with the means to flourish and thrive, and be, you know, disruptive problem solvers out in the world. But I do agree in the sense that there's a lot more work to be done. And so that's my next question, because I think each of you kind of touched on it. You know, as a Hispanic serving institution, what are some commitments that you hope to see come from the university, be it its land grant mission, enrollment, or even service to its students? You know, where do you see an opportunity for growth?
I can start. I mean, I think we're on a wonderful path, right? I think continuing to do what the University of Arizona is doing, continuing to serve Hispanic students, continuing, you know, programs like New Starts that are committed to student success, right? I know it's incumbent on the student as well, especially in an environment, in a big university environment too, but I would like to see the university continue doing what they're doing. I know when I got to visit Marla on campus pre-pandemic, we got to do a university tour to see some of the wonderful things and innovations that are happening there at the University of Arizona. I say just continue doing what you're doing. Share with the broader community too. We try to do this, and I would encourage you all to do this too, is that I know Hispanic Heritage Month is upon us here on the 15th. But I know we're out there and getting lots of requests from people at the Hispanic Chamber to come and talk about culture and all of that good stuff, which we love to do. But we always tell folks, I always tell folks, please recognize that Hispanics are part of your community 365 days a year. And we have a beautiful culture. So, you know, as my CEO likes to say, we're not elves on a shelf. Don't just take us out during Hispanic Heritage Month. You know, we're living, breathing community members, and you know, let's recognize the importance of it, whether it's in your business on a daily basis, 365 days a year, not just during Hispanic Heritage Month. But I would say keep doing what we're doing. We're doing great. You know, engage all of us as you continue to do, because I know we're always here to help and want to help further the mission of you all at the university.
Manny?
Yeah, so I would personally like to see more commitment from the University of Arizona to expand the opportunities for internships and jobs for students. Maybe, you know, focus more. One of the biggest mistakes or regrets that I have from my undergrad is when I asked about potential internship opportunities. Sorry if you can hear my dryer going on in the background. So it has a pretty catchy tune. Wasn't sure if you could hear it. Anyway, the biggest regret was as a sophomore going into my junior year, or I think I went in to ask for internship opportunities as a freshman, and I was told I had to wait until I was a junior to apply for internships. So I think the earlier we can find workforce development and internship or career opportunities, even starting as, you know, incoming freshmen, from a nonprofit perspective, from AZ Cyber, I'm trying to find internship opportunities from a high school perspective, because you're preparing them for the workforce, right? So as the earlier you can find these opportunities, the better. And I think the more the U of A can make relationships with the tech industry, so Silicon Valley, or a lot of companies that are moving to, or startups that are in New York and startups in Miami, that you can then bring them to career fairs in Tucson for students to be, you know, exposed and learn about the different jobs that are out there. I think it only benefits students, and most likely a lot of Hispanic and minority students, because a lot of these tech jobs, you can do them from home. And I think we can all, you know, probably assimilate and understand that we're very community and family based. And so if you have you have a family that you need to take care of, attend to, these jobs that you can do from home are the more, you know, the more prestigious ones, or the ones that are better suited for your life. And so that's a pretty unique opportunity that the tech industry presents. Cybersecurity, IT, and, you know, I guess I'm a little biased for cyber and tech and IT, but I think the university should probably make a commitment to just expand their partnerships with these companies that will benefit the students.
And it seems like there's a willingness from tech companies really across the world in really engaging with students in new ways, because I think I might have even had the same experience when it came to internships as well. You know, you're not a sophomore, you're not a junior yet.
Right.
You have to wait until your last year, so you're not a senior yet. And so now it seems that they'll take you, you know, whatever class you are. But even with the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities, they do a leadership program, and part of that its lineup of scheduling for development of students includes engaging with different companies. And when I had gone through that, be it Google or even Microsoft, there was a willingness. And so I think Marla and the HSI team definitely have that in mind, and workforce development is definitely a growing priority for the university. Nicole,
Glad to hear that.
Yeah. Nicole, you know, what are some thoughts you might have?
I'm actually not sure. Like, I'm not sure how to answer that, because I don't want to speak out of turn, and I'm not sure what programs are available. So I'm going to have to pass on that.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's not to say that there's not room for improvement. I think it's good to acknowledge that with such a small team, the HSI initiatives group has been able to accomplish so much, be it in the research and innovation realm, workforce development and career readiness, enrollment, recruitment, and retainment. I can only imagine what they can do at scale as time progresses. If you had the opportunity to broadcast a message to undergraduates that are in a position that you were once, what is some wisdom that you would like to share as they prepare to graduate and enter into be it a new academic year or their careers?
I'll go ahead and take the lead first. I would think, first of all, enjoy your time at the university, right? Because it goes by like that. My mother always tell me that, even though while I was going through school, it felt like the semester was going to last forever. It doesn't. Your 4, your 5 years is over, very quickly, and then you're thrust into the working world. But I think while you're enjoying your time there, kind of have the end in mind as well, right? You all are growing up in a very different environment, leaving the college, leaving your university experience in a very different environment, especially now post-pandemic. So, prepare yourselves. I don't know that you're ever going to, I think, Manny, some of us, Nicole, I know you ended up working in journalism, so you're a different special case, right? I'm kind of in a peripheral kind of area than what I studied, but make sure you take advantage of the people that are around you. I think we've all said at one point already today, get involved, find yourself a mentor. If you can find somebody that looks like you in the organization, even if you have to seek one out, I mean, those are really important to your future, right? Someone that you can call, even if it's in an organization. I would invite all of you, even though our office is in Phoenix, we are a statewide organization. We have interns. I have an internship open right now, actually. I would love to share a job description with you all. But we're always open to talking to folks coming in. Learn about the community that you want to be in, learn about the field that you want to be in, take advantage of your time. But I would say that seek out a mentor, enjoy the ride, but make sure you're preparing yourself, because it's over before you know it.
Agreed. It's definitely, I completely agree with Christina that it ends a lot faster than you hope and that you think. For that reason, I think it's important to, when you're in college, it's to find activities, programs, just anything that where you find passion, and using that passion to find the job that is the most meaningful for you. I think the earlier you find that job that brings you happiness, that you actually feel like, it's very cliche that everyone says, find a job that doesn't make you feel like you're working every day. It's true, but it's a lot harder than it actually sounds, right? Because you typically find that career maybe 10, 15 years, or maybe 20 years, or you find that, and then sometimes that means that you have to go back, or that you wish you would have done your career a lot differently. So the more exploration and trial and error that you do while you're in college, even if that means changing majors, having to take extra classes, try that out when you're in college, because the last thing you want to do is be in a position that you have to, unfortunately, either stay in a career that you don't like because you're so far advanced, or maybe you have to go back to school or something that is just, that's the reality of what you have to do in order to be in that career that you just find passion for. So I think the earlier we can provide, I think going back again to the workforce development opportunities that allow you to explore different jobs, different skills, I think the more you're setting up the student to find those connections between skills and interests and passions. So trial and error.
I love it.
Yeah.
Nicole?
Yeah, I'll probably echo a little bit on what Christina and Manny said, but trying new things and then not being shy about developing your network. So making sure to take advantage when people offer mentorship, advice, resume writing. If someone says, hey, like if you want to go get a cup of coffee, take advantage of it. Um, don't be shy about taking advantage of it when people offer to help out and maintain those connections, maintain those networks. I think college is a time where it's the biggest network development that I think you'll have, that's going to set you up for your career, whether you go into that chosen career or not. I'm still friends with a lot of people from college who did not go into journalism, and they're doing something else, and I still rely on those networks today. So I think it's just about, try new things, try not to be shy, and develop those networks and keep in touch with people.
I love that. Perfect. Well, we do have about 6 minutes left, and I want to open it up to our attendees if they have any questions or remarks before we go ahead and close out. We'll give it a minute, see if we see anything come in.
I think there's a question in the chat that I
Gotcha.
saw.
So we did kind of cover, so the question is, would you say an opportunity for growth is greater Latinx representation at different levels of administration? So I'm assuming they're talking about the university. Any thoughts on that?
I would say absolutely. If you're an administration looking to represent the student body, right, then you have to have people who can understand those lived experiences and can effectively represent the students. So absolutely, representation at every level, not just administration, but at the department or program level, the cultural center is just at every step of the way, making sure that there's someone that can understand and not just Latinx, just overall student population from all different backgrounds. I think it's important. But again, I think it also has to come from a genuine position, right? And find someone that is really looking to create change, not just make it a numbers game, basically.
Gotcha. Perfect. Well, it looks like we do not have any coming in. So I guess with that being said, thank you to everyone for tuning in. We'll hope you join us for the next HSI Week event. It's going to be on September 15th at 1 p.m., which is our Centering Servingness webinar. It's the culturally responsive mentoring via low-cost approaches in neuroscience to increase retention. And that'll be with Dr. Ulysses Ricoy from the Department of Neuroscience. And you can register at the link posted in the chat. It should be there any moment now. Or you can visit hsi.arizona.edu to learn more. We also, again, we kind of touched on this earlier in the convo, but Hispanic Heritage Month is upon us. The University of Arizona Hispanic Alumni Club is going to be celebrating the 40 years of excellence on September 23rd at the Casino del Sol. And so for over 40 years, the Hispanic Club traditions have really embraced and focused the importance of family. And I think, Manny, you even touched on it, that you were able to benefit from some of the beneficiaries of this club and the scholarships that it offers.
It's why I stayed.
Yeah, we love it. And so anyway, so tickets are on sale until September 15th. That's I believe the end of this week, midweek. And so that link will also be posted in the chat and can be found on our social media, which I believe is at UArizona HSI or .HSI. But thank you to you three for coming. It's been awesome hearing a little bit about your stories. I think I very much have an intersectional interest with innovation, tech, and journalism, good storytelling, and workforce development. I think you all very much encompass that in a really awesome way. I think we have a hand up from Lydia Aranda. not sure if there was a question there.
And I also got a question. How can people get in touch with me? I'll share feel free to email me. My email address is christinag@azhcc.com. I'll put it in the chat as well.
Gotcha. Perfect. Alrighty. Well, I think that's it. Thank you much, everyone.